Inside our Unstoppable Actors group on Facebook, there has been a lot of talk about learning lines, learning big chunks of lines in short spaces of time, forgetting lines. Lines are a big deal. But when we think solely about this, we get caught up in, you've guessed it, mental tension. So let's unpack lines in today's episode.
You are listening to Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, unknown actors with me, Louise, the artistic director of Standby Method Acting Studio. And for the last 13 years, I've been taking unknown actors with blank CVs all the way to Netflix dramas, Amazon Prime films, TV soaps, and stage plays around the world. And every week I'll be talking with you and sharing how you can become a paid working unstoppable actor, because you 1000% can. An acting career is doable. Are you ready to dive into the episode?
Welcome to this episode. I'm so excited to dive into the important topic of lines, learning lines, remembering lines. How do we remember big chunks of lines? All things lines. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. It is so good to have you here. I hope this is going to be the first of many episodes that you'll tune into as you go on your journey to become an unstoppable actor. And if you're a regular listener, thank you so much for tuning in. I absolutely love having you here. So let's dive into lines then. So many actors are putting pressure on themselves to remember their lines. And yes, lines are important. Obviously, it's part and parcel of being an actor. We've just got to learn them. Otherwise, we'd end up on stage with a script in hand, wouldn't we? Or we'd be in front of the camera with a script in our hands. But when we are thinking solely about lines at the cost of everything else, the performance becomes about memory. And acting is about living through the moment, using your imagination. So can you see how remembering lines is actually nothing to do with imagination? It's nothing to do with feelings. It's nothing to do with intentions. It's nothing to do with living through the moment. It is simply about memory. So when you are focusing solely on the lines, your performance is becoming one of simply memorizing them, about memory. That's it. It's a memory test. So you have got to find your own technique with learning lines. I'm not going to dive into the different techniques of learning lines in this episode. That's for a completely different one. But what works for me and how I learn lines might not work for you. And what works for you might not work for me. And there are many different line learning methods out there. It is a big deal for actors, of course. I don't want to skip over that. I do want to acknowledge how much of a big deal it is, how important it is. But in terms of learning lines, you might have to test out various different techniques until you find the one that fits for you. But we will talk about that in another episode. So I want to share something with you that happened to me when I was 17 years old, because I need you to know what you can do, what is possible for you when you do forget your lines mid-audition. So when I was 17 years old, I was applying for drama schools and auditioning for them as well. And obviously that comes with its own set of pressures, because we really want to impress people. We want to get a place in drama school. And of course, we've got to remember the lines. And I'd actually been to quite a few different auditions where you'd auditioned in front of each other. And I'd seen so many actors forgetting their lines mid-audition. And I'd seen them stopping because they were panicking, because they were scrambling around to find them and they couldn't find them, and then apologising and then asking to start again. And I could see, even as a 17-year-old, just how awkward that was for them. And then I could feel the energy off them where they were just beating themselves up internally. And even though I didn't have the answer, because, I was a novice at acting, I was in the same position as them. I didn't know the things that I know now about acting, but I just knew I didn't want to feel that. I didn't want to walk away beating myself up after my audition, because when we forget our lines, that's the thing that we seem to focus on after the performance or after the audition. So I was at one of the drama school auditions, actually the one that I got into, and it happened to me. I completely blanked mid-audition and the lines were nowhere in sight. And up until that point, I hadn't felt nervous. I wasn't putting pressure on myself. I just don't know what happened, but it's like I got a block, an unexpected block. But I didn't do what I'd seen the other actors doing. I didn't panic. I didn't stress out. I didn't start scrambling around trying to find the lines. I didn't ask to start again. What I actually did, and I did this instinctively, is I kind of used a method acting exercise that I'd never been trained in, never heard of, and that's the methods chair relaxation. And now what I'm saying is I didn't just stop the monologue and then start doing the relaxation exercise mid-monologue. That's not what I'm saying. The methods chair relaxation exercise is one that we practice daily and in the training. And we specifically do it in the 10-week method acting modules, and we'll do it for an hour at the beginning of class. But what we do is we learn a technique within that exercise that can help us mid-performance should tension attack us, which is what had happened to me in that audition. Tension had attacked me, and it was unconscious because I wasn't consciously aware of it. And that's the one that's the most dangerous because it just creeps up on you out of nowhere. It's very insidious. Anyway, so what I did is I just relaxed. I said to myself in my head, it's all right. These lines will come back. And I just sat there and continued with the behaviour of the character in that monologue. Now, in that moment, it did feel like 10 minutes had passed until the lines came back. In reality, it was probably like 5 seconds, but they did come back. And I continued with this monologue, no stress, and actually really enjoyed it. And then after I'd finished my audition, the panel said to me, we really enjoyed your pieces. And I walked away thinking, are they taking the mickey? Do they just say this to everyone? Is that like, just the polite thing to say at the end of auditions? Did they not know that I'd forgot my lines? But obviously they didn't. They didn't because I'd instinctively used a method acting exercise, the methods chair relaxation, without ever realising. And so there's some lessons from my experience that you can take. Because even if you don't know the methods chair relaxation just yet, I do highly recommend you learn it. I highly recommend you practice it. But if you don't know it just yet, the best thing you can do in the middle of an audition when that tension creeps up on you unexpectedly and you do forget your lines, the best thing you can do is not panic. Don't ask to start again. Yes, if you ask to start again, the casting panel are going to be understanding. Absolutely, they are. And they expect that people are nervous. But what I'm more concerned about is you. Whilst they'll give you another chance, I don't want you to train yourself into unhelpful habits because that then becomes the go-to. Panicking, freezing, worrying, flapping, and then stopping and asking to start again. I don't want you to train yourself into that unhelpful habit because that makes you believe you're incapable of remembering lines when you are more than capable of learning them and remembering them. Hello, I'm interrupting my own episode with an important announcement. If what you're hearing is resonating with you and you want to stop overthinking once and for all and you want to actually feel assured in yourself so you can start opening the doors to your dreams, you need the Summer 10-Week Method Acting Programme. This is an intensive 10-week deep dive into method acting that will turn you into a professional actor. And the standby students who have trained on the modules within this programme have landed work in Hollywood films, how exciting, Netflix dramas, Amazon Prime films and TV soaps. And they were like you. They began with very little, if any, experience, an empty acting CV, but a burning desire to become a professional actor. And if you have that burning desire too, to move away from the day job which is grinding you down and start getting cast quicker, then go and check out the Summer 10-Week Method Acting Programme because applications are only open for a very limited time. So the link is bit.ly/10-week method acting, all in lowercase and 10 as in the numbers 10, bit.ly/10-week method acting. And you can also hit the link underneath the episode. Instead, what I'd like you to do is, when you do forget your lines in the middle of your audition, allow yourself the space to pause, as I did instinctively, and just recenter yourself. It's going to feel to you like a century is passing, but in reality it's not. In reality, it's about 5 or 10 seconds. Don't make it obvious that you forgot the lines. Just focus on the character. The lines absolutely will come back to you. You don't need to panic. You don't need to get sucked into these fear thoughts that they'll never return because they absolutely will. Trust yourself. If you panic, they won't come back to you. But if you relax in that moment, they will. And this is not woo-woo hogwash that I'm making up. This is a biological fact, a physiological fact. Under stress, memory disappears. It is the first thing to go. But when we soften and when we relax, our memory is sharp. Now, this happened again. I forgot my lines mid-performance. This was, maybe like 5 years ago. I was doing a stage play and I panicked. And I forgot my own advice and I forgot my technique because I got that far into the panic. And when you do get that far into the panic, you will never, ever be able to remember your technique. You won't be able to draw upon it because it's too late. And that's what happened to me. My scene partner could see this. She could see, oh, Louise has forgot her lines. I'm going to have to help her out here. So she used my lines as hers. And then I relaxed because I was like, oh God, yeah, I do know them. And it came back to me. But you can't always rely on other actors. Me and this other actress, we were teammates, but not everyone's going to be that. Some people are going to panic with you. So you have to allow yourself the space in that moment to just reground, recenter, relax, tell yourself they're going to come back because they will, and crack on with whatever the character's doing. Now, as I've already said, practicing the methods chair relaxation is something that you need to be doing daily. 15 minutes a day, you need to be doing it because it's retraining you to get grounded in moments of panic. It's retraining you to be present when you feel nervous. And it gives you a technique to be able to deal with nerves quickly and in an internal way that's invisible to the audience, so you look like the absolute professional and the audience have no idea that a little blip has happened in your performance. Now, I'd instinctively use this, but I had to also train in it as well to sharpen my skills with this, to become proficient in it. And as I've already said, this is what we do at the beginning of every single class inside the 10-week method acting program. And then as part of your daily preparation, you're doing it for 15 minutes every single day. So come the end of the 10 weeks, you know exactly what you are doing mid-performance when you do forget your lines or when a little performance mistake or blip does happen. And nobody will ever know because you will have handled it as a professional. And when you start learning techniques like this, you get better at your craft. You become a better actor and you become more magnetising to watch. And I know you want to get better. I know you want to practice your skills and I know you want to improve. So I'd highly recommend you checking out the summer 10-week method acting programme. We've got applications open now for a limited time, so you can come and audition for it. And the link to do that is bit.ly/10week method acting. So bit.ly/10week method acting, all in lowercase. Or you can click the link underneath the episode. This is the training that you need to get those doors opening for you because you are delivering top-notch quality performances to a professional standard. I'll see you in the next episode. I've absolutely loved hanging out with you and I really hope you found this episode inspiring. If you have, please do rate the podcast and hit follow so you never miss an episode and I can help more actors like you. And come and join one of the most supportive, uplifting acting communities on socials, the Unstoppable Actors Facebook group, where you'll get your weekly injection of inspiration, networking and receive your free Method Actors handbook so you can become an unstoppable actor.